From trying to cash in on Man of Steel nostalgia to not taking advantage of The Flash being Superman's perfect swan song. Here's why the new trailer for the Flash movie makes Henry Cavill's Superman absence even worse. Starting off with how the trailer's all about taking a trip down memory lane. Now, here's the thing, you guys. We know the Flash movie has been in the pipeline since 2014, right? And the fact that we're finally getting it after 10 freaking years makes it seem like we've hit the jackpot. But that's not quite the case. Because you see, now that Zack Snyder, the man who basically kickstarted the DC Extended Universe as we know it, is no longer in the picture, and Henry Cavill, our perfect Superman, is also out the door, the upcoming reboot of the DC Universe doesn't look as promising. I mean, sure, James Gunn is gonna be at the helm of it, but from the looks of the new trailer, it seems that the movie is going all in on nostalgia. Though, I guess it might just be a little party trick to market it better, because DC Studios desperately needs an audience to keep things going. Now, here's why the second trailers got fans divided. You see, as far as I can tell, there are multiple callbacks to Zack Snyder's Man of Steel that make it all look like the movie's just a throwback to the good old days. I mean, if I break down the entire trailer, I can name a couple of scenes that were basically recreated in this new trailer for Man of Steel. Just take the whole World Engine sequence as an example. One of the first recreated elements from Cavill's film in The Flash's second trailer is Zod's World Engine attacking Metropolis. Now, the reason why this scene is particularly important is because in the final act of Man of Steel, Superman's trying to stop Zod from rebuilding Earth in the image of Krypton. Because after Supes and Zod lose their home planet, Zod's always wanted to sort of rebirth his world using Earth as a template. That's why, before he and his allies head toward Earth, they gather Kryptonian terraforming technology from various outposts in the galaxy called World Engines, which have only one purpose. They reverse the gravity of various other objects on Earth and then lift them up before slamming everything back to the ground. Flattening out to match the atmosphere and topography of Krypton. In The Flash's new trailer, the World Engines are somehow recreated again, and they're back at it, attacking and destroying Metropolis again, setting the stage for Zod's fateful return in The Flash. Not just that, but since he's gonna come back, Metropolis will again face doom and destruction all over again, just like in Man of Steel, which is gonna make Superman's absence painfully obvious. Because here's the thing, Clark Kent was able to stop both World Engines and eventually Zod, who was killed during the battle for Metropolis. However, in the trailer, Barry's running along the debris of destroyed buildings, so we can assume that maybe the fall of Metropolis will sort of become the catalyst for the Flash's first act. Now, if you've noticed in the trailer, Zod pops up in places that he was never, ever in during his first DCEU appearance in Man of Steel. This sort of hints that maybe the Flash somehow thwarts the destruction of Metropolis, and instead of dying, Zod actually escaped. Then, the film's plot involving Batman and Supergirl can come into action, which works in theory, I guess, but come on, not having Cavill go up against Zod? Having seen Man of Steel, it's just so weird that they're actually not going to have Henry Superman around anymore. Because what's even weirder is that Zod's armor from the trailer looks so much like the one from Man of Steel that it seems like The Flash is more or less set in the same era as Man of Steel, minus the actual Man of Steel, of course. So what this means is that Zod's appearance makes sense, and seeing him wear the same bulky, grayish-black armor that he wore in Soup's OG movie in the new trailer is definitely a throwback to Snyder's version of the DCEU, which further adds to the nostalgia, I guess. Now, another thing from The Flash's trailer 2 that really made fans emotional was the part with Supergirl, where she asks Barry if he knows what the symbol on her chest really means. The Scarlet Speedster replies that it means hope, because that's what he remembers after spending time with Superman when they were a part of the Justice League. Now, a similar scene was in Man of Steel, when Clark tells Lois that the symbol means hope on Krypton.
On my world, it means hope.
Well, here it's an S.
So it's just a nice little ode to Henry Cavill, even if we don't have the real deal. And, just like with the symbol, when Supergirl goes up against Zod one-on-one like Superman, that just shows how much of the focus has been shifted to her character in the second trailer. I mean, Zod versus Superman was epic, and to have Supergirl recreate those scenes in The Flash is definitely a way to sort of replace Superman as the resident Kryptonian in the franchise. I mean, she even recreated his sonic boom from Man of Steel. So, it looks like The Flash is trying its best to make sure Henry Cavill's Superman is not missed one bit. But here's what's wrong with that. You see, sure, we're still gonna get little throwbacks from Man of Steel in the new movie. But are we forgetting that we're literally getting Michael Keaton back too? In fact, a bigger part of why Cavill's absence seems so in the face is because of Keaton's role in the movie. I mean, he's literally returning to the screen after 31 years. So fans are definitely super excited about that. And also, since Superman's got his own callbacks in the trailer, so did Keaton, because he was seen quoting his lines from the Tim Burton directed films, as well as the iconic first Batman, when he told Barry that losing his parents made him who he is. And just like those Man of Steel recreations seem nostalgic, this means that Keaton's role is much more than fun DC nostalgia, as what this will do is flesh out his character a whole lot more and give him a proper arc for once, combining the best of Batman and Batman Returns, which is why it's sad that Superman wouldn't get the same level of treatment that Keaton is getting, because Keaton's gonna have a dynamic role in the film, and seeing how The Flash is doing its best to honor previous versions of the character, I guess having a similar fate just wasn't in the cards for Cavill. Plus, it's literally Superman. And what's our favorite Kryptonian without his #1 frenemy? Plus, now that Henry's left both DC and The Witcher now, his departure has certainly had an impact on both franchises. In December 2022, it was announced that Henry would be hanging up his red cape and not reprise his role as Superman in James Gunn's version of DC. After that, fans were obviously worried that his role as Geralt would suffer the same fate. And to their surprise, Cavill was not trading his cape for some additional armor either. He left the role of Geralt to Liam Hemsworth. And while both of his exits were apparently amicable and his choice, okay, well, not exactly. I mean, his departure from The Witcher was fueled by a dispute between him and the writers, and the Superman situation was basically because James was trying to soft launch a younger version of Superman. Either way, fans were not happy with the decision. Because, soon after Henry's replacement was announced, fans tweeted asking if it was too late for Henry to return to The Witcher. And seeing those first look images of Liam from the set, yeah, I think 3 seasons of The Witcher is where the show will end for most fans. Because not only has the show lost some die-hard Henry fans as its audience, Cavill's exit has also hard hit the game franchise. And now, it's being re-evaluated from scratch to avoid further backlash. Of course, it's not just The Witcher that suffered because of Henry's exit plans. We already know DC's taken a hit too. And considering how The Flash could have literally been his swan song, it's sad that Superman's last official DCEU appearance was in Black Adam of all movies. That too in a post-credits scene. I mean, sure, teasing a whole other dynamic with The Rock's character was the perfect way to keep things interesting for the future, but now that we know that's the last we've seen of Henry's version of the character, it's a pretty underwhelming farewell, don't you think? Plus, if The Flash is set to reboot the entire franchise, then doesn't it make sense for Superman to be a part of the movie one last time before everything resets? I mean, those scenes where Supergirl basically recreates everything from Man of Steel could have just had Henry pass on the torch to Sasha Calle's Supergirl, instead of being glaringly absent from everything. Besides, with Zod returning, do you guys honestly think Barry, or even Supergirl for that matter, could take him and his world engines? Plus, Plus, since we're getting Batfleck and, rumor has it, even Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman might drop by, wouldn't this have been the perfect send-off for the character? Either way, even if The Flash has given several shout-outs to Man of Steel, not having Henry Cavill don his red cape is certainly a tremendous loss. So, from not taking advantage of The Flash being Superman's perfect swan song to trying to cash in on Man of Steel nostalgia. That was why the new trailer for the Flash movie makes Henry Cavill's Superman absence even worse.